Okay. Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents. Through support and resources, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to hopefulness and greater peace of mind. HPH goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. HPH welcomes everyone regardless of religious or non-religious background and encourages open dialogue. Over to you, Anne-Marie.
Thank you, Christy. Just say hello, everybody. We're going to keep it really short because we're a little bit late. Had some technical problems behind the scenes, but all sorted. So welcome to Deanna. So happy that you very kindly volunteered to show us your beautiful work. So I'll hand over to you if that's okay, Deanna. Oh, one thing first. Can everybody select under view in the top right? So there's view with 9 dots. And if you click on that, we want you to be showing speaker view. And that way you'll see Deanna's art as your full screen.
Okay.
So speaker view. So I'm just going to put that in the chat as well. So over to you, Deanna.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to share my screen here and then see if I can get to where I want to go. Hold on. Why is it not opening up? Hold on. I did it a minute ago. Oh, I hear. Oh, play here. Okay, sorry. I got it now.
And you might want to just make your screen full screen as well.
Yes, thank you. Full screen.
That's nice and big.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. It's always nice to share your work and your journey. I'm not a public speaker. I don't usually talk in big groups, so bear with me if I'm being a little clumsy. But I wanted to talk a little bit about like my journey with art and how I feel like it's very healing and it has helped me on my process with my mat. I have been Deanna Merrigan's my name, and I live in Northern California in the Bay Area. And I think I've been a part of helping parents heal for, I feel like at least 6 years, maybe more. I don't know. I went to like the second conference, but I didn't go to this one we just had. So I know it was pretty soon, I felt like, after he passed, and he passed in July of 2016. So we're coming up on almost 9 years. So that's why I feel like maybe it wasn't too long ago. This is a picture of Matt. And I want you guys to be able to ask questions if you have anything as I kind of go along, because I'm open to just talking in general. But Matt here on the left, this was like about a month before he transitioned, and he had a green mohawk, and he was finding his people. So he sends me all kinds of signs that have to do with green. And then I have a middle school kind of picture, and then like a baby picture with him there. So that's kind of fun. He died here in the room I'm in. My husband and I found him in the morning, and I was kind of saying, that's going to be important later because it's part of my process being in the room. But I don't know what the next picture is. I kind of like this photo. He had a lot of issues going on, and I didn't know if he was suicidal. We asked him. He never said he was. He said he wasn't. But I think he was drinking, and I think he was doing some other things. And I don't know what happened. If it was an accident and he just made bad choices, or if he truly was suicidal. I don't know. But that doesn't matter to me because I still have a relationship with him now. And he's in a great place. And I'll talk a little bit about that, our relationship that we currently have. And have had to learn to let go of a lot of the what ifs and stuff like that. But I just want to talk a little bit, like right off the bat, I knew he was here still with us. And I don't know how, because I'd never really experienced the loss of anybody. But I remember that day, I told my daughter, I said, he's here with us. And I don't know how I knew that. I just knew he was here. And that was kind of interesting. And it sort of was like my awakening, so to speak. And I immediately started feeling things and connecting with, I feel like, spirit. I just was like seeing colors when I closed my eyes and meditating and stuff like that. And it really, I felt like that was him. Leading up to, before I started taking any classes and getting into art, I had started doodling in like a sketchbook. Like I was carrying around this sketchbook in the first month or two, writing down what people brought over as dinners to send thank you notes to, or when I was gonna do this, or don't forget to do that. And I would sketch, and I wrote a poem called My Wildflower, I called him, and it was about him, and I wanted it at his service, celebration of life. And then wildflowers became kind of a really important thing. And then I even like drew a little black and white sketch, and that became like this immediate, that's what ended up being my tattoo, which I had never thought in a million years I'd get a tattoo. But I went to the tattoo artist lady, and I was like hemming and hawing about what to do. And she said, well, this little sketch you drew is just great. I don't need to redraw this for you. That's what your tattoo should be. So she ended up using, I have a tattoo on my ankle of this particular drawing that I did like the week, right away. So the sketchbook was kind of interesting, just carrying around this pen and ink, paper. And I would just, it's a way to get your hand, and you guys all know this, it's a way to get your hands busy while you're processing things. I had been working as a office manager in a company, and I quit my job that day. I never went back. I didn't go in that day, and then I never went back. And I all of a sudden am home alone. Husband went back to work, daughter was back at school, and I'm in the house, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And I kind of went on this, I'm going to go to pictures here in a second, but I kind of went on this discovery of who I am, because I know a lot of people have this same thing where you feel like you're always doing stuff for other people. Like, I should be in a career where I'm doing that, or I should take care of my husband, or I should take care of the house and then my daughter. And I kind of put myself in like fourth place, fifth place for everything else. And after he transitioned, I just was like so selfish and said, I need to do these things that I keep saying I want to do. And I'm going to do that one day, or I'm going to do it now is the time. I felt like I did all these things to try to keep everybody safe and happy. And then this terrible thing happened anyway, no matter what I did. So I'm just going to do what I want to do. And it sounds selfish, but it really was like the opening to my healing and feeling better. Because, for example, the first thing I did was go out in my side yard that was this neglected part of the yard, and started ripping out old trees. I went out there one day with like this big machete thing and hacking at branches, and I was trying to cut things down. And then I had my brother-in-law put a door in off the kitchen so I could get to this yard easier, so that I could make this garden for Matt, and because I like flowers and plants, and that's where I felt connected to him and to spirit. And I just wanted to be outside. And that's the first thing I did, was just build this garden. And it's beautiful now. It's like my favorite place in the world. And that was kind of one of the things that I did for myself first. And then the other thing I did for myself was started going to a class, and it's a little community center, little watercolor class. I needed to get out of the house because I was just sitting here and not doing anything. And when you're not working and you're not doing it, nobody's home, you're just sort of like, I have a lot of time to fill in the day. So I started going to this class, and these people were not asking me, how many kids do you have? Everybody is a lot older. And we just sort of sat there and painted. The teacher taught us these things. And it was like sort of like a couple hours of just painting. And then I got home and would paint my own type of stuff, because she kind of had like a different style. But I started doing that. And I'll show you a little bit about some of the first watercolors I did. This is one in that class that just watercolor and painting was a time to make me just get out of my head and feel better. And I actually went to AI and asked a question like, what is art as healing? And it said it could be a symbolic representation of feelings. It was a visual outlet for emotional expression, and it can help find meaning in our loss. And that's exactly what I felt. This was helping me find a way to express myself. So one of the reasons I started with watercolor was because it's much easier to do when you're only having a limited amount of, you just need paper, a little bit of watercolor, and some water. And you don't need to have the oils and the paints and the big rooms, big canvases and stuff. So I kind of went here into Matt's room. I felt really close to him here. The rest of the family stayed out of this room. There were, whatever reason, no one wanted to come in here but me. And I felt close to him here. And then I started painting in here. And then I sort of took it over with my stuff, left his stuff, but added my stuff. And then it's been like this combo room of ours now. And no one comes in here and I can make it a mess and nobody cares. So I'm pretty happy with that. Since then I've moved to other places, but I still come in here a lot. So watercolor, for that reason, was the reason I started with watercolor. And these were examples of stuff I did in a class and stuff I did in a workshop. I got to express my color in the workshop. I love color, but my teacher was teaching us stuff on the left. And that's where I kind of was like, I'm learning this stuff, but it's not really my style, the lighthouse, more on the right. But let's see, what else was I going to tell you? These are more of the stuff that the teacher would teach us. And I started painting places I went to. That's a particular hike that we went on. We went there in memory of Matt in Yosemite. So I started painting those things. I went and I started painting things like the peaches that I picked from my garden because I wanted to learn how to do shadows and different colors on things. So this was an easy, not easy, but peaches are generally a circle, right? And I was adding shades and colors and just trying to like learn that. I'm always trying to learn something new. So I was teaching myself a little bit about that. The one on the right is from a book. I would take the books from watercolor books, like at the used bookstore, I'd get books and then I would do those little lessons at home. This is a lot of time me being home alone and just painting all the time. I got a little bit more spiritual during this time, but I started painting things that represented my Matt. It was important to me. He had a thing about ducks. Until he was probably 10, he carried this baby duck around, and he said he was real, and he was very attached to this duck, and he called him baby duck. And I still have baby duck, but I started painting ducks and wildflowers because I called him my wildflower. And I wanted to say here that this is an easy thing for people who are just starting out. And you guys probably all know this, but tracing with pen and ink and then doing a watercolor over it. And watercolor paper, one of the first things she taught me was you put watercolor paper over like whatever you want to draw and under with a light behind it, either a window or a light box, and you can trace whatever you want and then you can just paint it in. So that's basically what I did here. The typewriter and I kind of drew the ducks, but it's kind of a nice way to just get some easy watercolors out, and people really responded well to these. This is another example of tracing a photo out of a magazine or an old photo. That's actually my dad, and when he was a boy. So that photo is from probably like 1930 or 1940 when he was a little boy, and I blew it up and traced it and then just painted what I thought the colors would look like. And that was just a fun project as well, and relatively easy to do if you can trace. At some point I started meditating and having conversations with Matt, and my spiritual growth got bigger. I met lots of mediums, but then I learned that I could have these same conversations with him without having to go to a medium anymore. And we can very easily have a conversation in my head. And I don't know whether it's automatic writing or channeling, but I've spoken with Matt a lot, and I've spoken with, I think, Archangel Michael, and I've spoken with my guide, because I ask who I'm talking to. It's a particular way I do it, but I'm writing as fast as I can have a conversation, and I have all these journals and journals and journals. And I always think, am I making this up? And then I read my journals back and I'm like, I couldn't have made that up, you know? And I've seen people post on some of these sites and they're saying sort of the same thing that Matt and my guides have been saying to me. So I think I'm actually channeling. And I really like angels for some reason, you know, I mean, obviously not for some reason, you know, the reason, because I feel like Matt's an angel and I have angels looking out for us. He told me in one of my meditations that we're up here like a band of angels, kind of a rough looking group, but we're a band of angels. And I thought, what does he mean by rough looking group? And I figured with his mohawk and the green mohawk, and that's what he was. So I was trying to paint these angels with all these weird color hair, because I thought, oh, let's give somebody with curly hair and we'll give somebody with purple hair, and you know, because and no identifiable male, female, just colors. Like I said, when I was meditating early on, I would see colors, and I knew that it was different spirits coming through my vision, but it was colors in the beginning. And so I wanted to kind of paint the colors. This is another earlier representation of the band of angels. Just crazy hair and stuff, and I just had fun with it, you know. So that's kind of one of the things that I really got into painting. Is anybody, I'm just rambling on. If anybody has any questions, feel free to stop me. I don't mind. Okay. I have the meeting place we go to. That's also a thing I always want to paint, which is this beautiful meadow full of wildflowers with mountains in the distance. I go there, I feel the breeze, you know, and so on. And there's a gate off to my left. And that's how I go up to the gate and I meet who's ever there on the gate waiting. And it's sort of like, I think that's sort of like a representation. If I go to the gate, then I can let them in and have a conversation, but they're not just coming into my space. I actually physically go to this meadow and then I go to the gate and greet who's there, which is interesting because I've had mediums tell me, you gotta like not, you know, let too much energy in, you got to be able to know how to turn it off. And I don't know if anything about that, but I thought about that as I'm going to this gate. Yeah, that's probably what I'm actually doing. So I go to this gate and I'll meet. And so I wanted to paint the idea of this meeting place.
Deanna, can I interrupt
yeah.
you for just a second?
Yes.
So can you give us a little bit of a timeline? So when did you, how long after do you think it was that you started becoming more spiritual and you started doing this meditating and doing your own connecting?
Almost right away. I had my first medium talk at 3 months after, and I still was pretty closed down. So I'm maybe within a year. I remember right away I was seeing the colors, which if I closed my eyes and I sat, I would see like these colors just kind of come in. You know, your third eye, they talk about, like if I focused on my third eye, I would see this green come through and then this pink, and it would go to this purple. And I thought, this is just bizarre because it's not like the sun is shining on me or anything where I'm getting a reflection of that. And I knew it was spirit. And this little green ball would come bouncing through at some point, and I knew that was Matt. he told me he was green, and then he would bounce through. He had a thing about green too, if I didn't say that, but the green hair and the green car, so everything is green with him. So that's, he represents to me that way. That's how it started. And then I went to like a place where somebody taught me how, you know, we've done a few meditations where you go and they say you'll meet your loved one in spirit. And I've done a few of those, and it just became like, I just started picking a place I went to. And then the more I did it, the more it was like, I can do it like instantaneous now. Whereas before it took me a while and I had to think about things a little bit more.
It's practice, right?
It's practice. And I have to say that's like the best healing thing for me, is because I truly feel like he's still part of my life. I still have a relationship with him. It's not the same, obviously, but it's very, I think it's like a really great relationship. So pretty soon it took, I mean, I'm at 9 years and I have a fear of things, so I didn't want to jump right in. So I've held back a lot, and I think a lot of people do, but I'm trying to let that go.
I think, I think the biggest hurdle is getting over doubting yourself, but then you also don't, you don't, you don't want people to think you're crazy, of course,
Right.
and that's what's so great about our group is we all know the real deal, and
Right.
nobody thinks you're crazy or anybody else is crazy for connecting with their children. Um, and what a sense of relief that can be to know that you can still continue to have a relationship with them like you're talking about.
It is. And that's what's great about the, like you said, this group, because I can't talk about this stuff with most people that I know, but this group is great for that.
Okay, sorry,
Deanna, can
I
I
interrupted,
just,
but
No, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, I'm going to be very quick with an interruption.
Mhm.
One of the signs that Harry brings me, I'm in his bedroom,
Mhm.
is a sort of banging from the wardrobe. And as you're talking
Mhm.
about 3 minutes ago,
Oh,
I just
chills.
got another bang then. So I've had two bangs,
Mm.
and I'm looking across to Harry's picture, and it is honestly in 3D.
Wow.
I've never seen that. It is in 3D, like he is standing there. It is unbelievable.
I've got chills right now. That's incredible. That's great.
And two bangs. Like
Wow.
literally when I said one of Harry's signs is banging and it banged. So I'm absolutely
They're
flabbergasted.
Well,
here with us.
I think we heard the banging just a few seconds before you started
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, amazing. And that I'm looking over at the picture and it is like he's
Mm.
actually there. And it's a photo. It's normally, 2D. I'm so shocked.
That's great.
Sorry, I'll mute
I
myself
love it.
now.
You're okay.
very cool.
That's cool. Um, okay, so more wildflowers, and this is like abstracty wildflowers. So I'm this just is encouraging anybody that wants to try watercolor if you've never had done it. This is just throwing drops of paint on the paper, and it's so fun. Um, this is another book thing. Okay, another thing I like to do is cairns. I don't know if you all know what a cairn is. It's a stack of rocks that often I backpacked and hiked, and people would stack these along the trail to, like, if somebody was lost, they kind of showing the way of the trail. So I know there's other meanings. This, my meaning is like it's showing the way. So cairns are also very um, simple shapes, are usually just a round kind of shape. I like to just do them. I'm practicing again colors and shadows. You can see I've done several of them. Another one in Sedona. I also started doing paintings of meaning. This is my daughter and her cousin, Matt's cousin, when we went to scatter Earth ashes. They were sort of having a moment there, taking pictures of something, and it just meant something to me. So I paint those types of things. This is more of ducks. And then I wanted to paint Matt, and that's the first painting I've done of Matt. And again, there's no faces because I don't know how to do faces yet. And I'm afraid, people always say it's hard to paint your loved ones because you have to try to get them just right. But I got the gist of what was happening here. Matt and his sister on the beach. And I thought that was kind of my mother-in-law wants that picture of his grandma. So she has that at her house. What I'm trying to get at is that people don't need to have like a special set of skills to do any kind of art. I just feel like, or drawing. People always say, I can't do art because I can't draw, or I can't do this. And I just hope what my message is for people in the world is you can just do whatever you feel like. It's as long as it's coming from your heart and it makes you feel good. That's all there is to it.
Are these still watercolor, or they look like
Yeah.
they're more
Yeah, they're not.
acrylic?
These particular ones are not watercolor. That's acrylic on the ducks. And then that's one of my first oil paintings, and I was learning how to do oils. Oils, I don't know if any of you guys do oils. It's kind of I don't know how experienced you all are, but watercolor is like this process of you put these really light layers down and then you build up, like you let it dry, then you keep adding layers on. So you kind of go light to dark. And then when I was taught oils, it was you're doing like you sketch it in this dark and you put your shadows in, and then you basically build up to light. It's like almost the opposite. And then when you do oils, they don't dry, and they get kind of grayed out and smudgy when you try to mess with them too much. So it was like turning my brain upside down and backwards to switch from oils or watercolors to oils. But it's a good practice learning thing for me because I'm always trying to learn. So that's oils. This is just more memories of things, more ducks. And that's just a charcoal sketch I did. Let's see. Matt sends me hawks. So once again, I was trying to do a hawk. It didn't work, but I tried it anyways, traced it, and enjoy that. And then a picture of a hawk that was following me one day on the trail. And then I just was like talking, I'm kind of going to go in a little bit about different mediums that I've done. And I think that everybody should try if they haven't done them. Pastels. I don't know if any of you guys have done pastels, but they're these little sticks. I don't do oil pastels. I've done the soft or chalk pastels, and you're basically drawing with the stick, and you use a particular kind of paper. It's a little bit rougher, and it kind of gathers up that powdery stuff into it. And you're basically sketching out with color, and then you can smear it around, and it's like painting, but with these little sticks. And it's actually a really enjoyable thing to do if you like to do any kind of drawing. And you can also do these as like a study for like a bigger painting or something like that. And I like color. So here I am practicing apples and pears and cherries. Because again, circles. Easy for me to learn with. I have some more pastels. And like the one on the bottom right is from Maui in the hills. And I did a larger painting of that in oil later, but I was kind of learning what shapes and colors to put in for learning the bigger painting. So that's a fun thing. Pastels are really fun. If you guys haven't tried it, I would try them. Let's see. Another thing I have a lot of people in my class who are abstract artists, and I don't know how to do abstract very well, but this was a fun project where I just took a piece of mixed media paper, it was a really big one, like a 24 by 30 or something. I taped it up on a board, and then I made a grid with tape. And then when I had this new packet of acrylic paints that were like earth tones, and I just did these wild, crazy things with the paints and went over the tape mark and everything. So when I took it off, I had like 6 different little small abstract paintings. And that was just a fun project, and I liked them. It was something I did all afternoon and just was like getting free. If you're ever trying to think of like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to paint. It's just a fun way to start being creative and experiment. I have no fear really with art. I have fear with other things, but not with art, because it's for me, and I'm not trying to sell it or do anything with it. If it turns out great, I'll give it to somebody. Maybe if my teacher says it's great, she wants to put it in our local show, maybe, but I'm not. If I'm just doing it for myself, then that's all that I'm doing. Then I have no fear. As soon as somebody wants something particular, then it's like, oh no, I'm not doing it right. More abstracts, but these are like watercolor and acrylic or mixed media. And that's just to get your juices flowing, so to speak. So as I'm talking to Matt in spirit, he's told me a few things, and this is some of his quotes. He says, paint the hug. Like he was hugging me once, and he said, paint the hug. And then one time he said, I'm free and happy, no physical limitations. He was saying, I'm enveloped in the light and surrounded by love all the time. Imagine it. It's wondrous, he says. And he says, that's a great favorite word of yours. Paint that, wondrous. That's a great idea. He's kind of got like this funny sense of humor. And I'm thinking, how am I going to paint wondrous? But that's something I keep in my mind as I'm painting. I'm like, okay, so part of my journey on earth, I think, is to help raise the vibration level, give people pleasure. I might not know that they like my art, but if I'm putting my soul into it and positivity and love, it's going to get in there. That energy gets put into the art, and somebody will respond to it in some way, possibly. So that's what I'm looking for. I don't need everybody to say that's, you should be in galleries across the country or anything. I just want other people to feel something from that. And Matt's encouraging me in that regard. I think Archangel Michael said, be bountiful with your gifts. Paint something and write a message about it and tell the viewer what you want to see. And I was feeling like an idea was to put words on the canvas before you paint them, and then just paint over it, but the words are there, some special meaning you have, or write a poem that goes along with the painting that you can show next to the painting or attach to the back or something that kind of goes with it. That was kind of an idea. Matt says we give great messages to you, and you see all the beauty around you in the flowers and the hummingbirds and the mountains and the sunrises and sunsets. Paint these. Think of me and our love. And I thought, okay, so I'm getting a pretty good message to do that. And that's what I'm trying to do when I am up there and I'm feeling connected to him with the flowers. And I know he sends me hummingbirds, and I see the sunrise and I think of him, and I think of spirit, not just Matt. I feel connected to energy. That's what I want to paint, those kinds of things. And so I'm trying to do it. Let's see what else. One morning I woke up with the mantra in my head, let in the light. And I felt like this is a message for all of us. In a dark place I was, but I woke up and saying, let in the light, let in the light. And it wasn't like, let there be light, like that common, Bible saying, but it was let in the light. And I got that very clear. And I've had that in my head ever since. And so I wrote this out. It says, let in the light underneath all this paint there. It was just a way to put the words on the painting again. And I am trying to let in the light, whatever the light may be. And that was to get myself out of my space I was in. Am I okay? You guys, any questions so far? We're good? Okay. Christy, did you have anything?
No, I think I love seeing
Good.
all your art. I do the same thing. I write words on my canvases or intentions and
Yeah,
things
good.
that are important on my canvas before I even start painting, that just kind of imbues the work with that energy and connects me to it.
Yeah, that's great.
Could I say something,
Yeah.
Deanna?
Yeah.
I just absolutely love your art as well. And I love the fact that Matt has told you to write something on your canvas and then have it be a part of it. But there's so many things that I love. The angels that you do in watercolor are just spectacular. And I know you know that I love them. But also, I think that it's so fun that he wanted them to be diverse and interesting, and I think that that's why I love them so much as well. But yes, let in the light. I love this as well. This is just so
Yeah.
significant. And um, anyway, I'm loving hearing you talk about this
Good.
because all of these different mediums that you're using are so interesting. And
Yeah.
watercolor isn't easy. I mean, I know that you said that the other ones sometimes have their issues as well, but this is just beautiful. So anyway, keep going though.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you guys are responding, because I just want to say, don't have any fear about trying anything new. If you've ever wanted to try it, just go for it, because it's kind of fun. I started painting. This is like the beginning of my oil journey here. I started painting trips that I've done. I did backpacking, and obviously I like trails. I've noticed there's these themes I have. Like there's always trails. I'm always walking up a hill because, and this is all before Matt, transitioned. These are photos from that. And when I was doing oils in the beginning, these are the first things I started painting. As I got more along, I started painting. This is a more recent painting of Arches National Park. I like it, but it's simpler. I've learned a lot of more technique in this painting, and I don't know if I like it better than the other ones, but that's just me. Again, a trail, another place, a botanical garden, practicing my flowers, and more trails. That same one that I did with the pastel, this is the oil version of it. And yet I don't know which one I like better, really. I gave this one away, but I like the pastel as well. Let's see. I wanted to learn how to paint people. So My daughter is the soccer player, and that one got in a show. But I had to really, that was like patience. Like part of my issue is that I'm very, just paint whatever I feel and just like craziness. And watercolor forced me to be patient and slow. And this made me be patient and slow, which is a challenge for me. I'm always hearing people talk
I've got
about,
a question, Deanna.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
Now, are you painting these from a photo or from your imagination?
Mostly a photo. These oil in the beginning is photo. So the one on the left is actually my grandparents before they had my dad, and my dad was born in 36. So this is like a little photo that was black and white from like 1930, right? And they was like when they first met, they were not even married yet. And I thought, what a nice little photo. And I had to like figure out how to draw them and figure out how to put the color in that seemed realistic. So this was like kind of a challenge for me. And it was just something I wanted to learn how to do. And it took me a while too, because you could easily get those legs wrong and stuff like that. So I enjoy a good challenge, I have to say. But yeah, they're photographs, and I'm having to redraw them, but that's me
Stunning.
learning how.
I'm loving your presentation as well.
Oh,
Just to
good.
chime in and say that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Stunning.
Let's see. More people. That again is my dad and his sister on the left. My mom does not like that one at all. I like it, but they don't. She doesn't. I'm like, what's wrong with it, Mom? But that's okay. Right after and part of my grief was going on these walks. So the next couple of photos are trails around my house. I take lots of pictures. Matt would show up in these skyscape or clouds. I was like, I remember once I was walking and the sun was pulsating behind this cloud. And I was like, that is so weird. Does anybody else see that? And I felt like it was somebody talking to me. And I was amazed. So I have these are paintings from photos and imagination. You see, I get a little bit more imaginative as I've gone along. See, this is the same. I've gone a little bit more into oils here, and I'm being a little bit more free with my interpretation of things. So, I mean, these are kind of like, those trees don't really look like trees, but I kind of like this style. I'm sort of developing my own style here. But this is walks where I'd go on and I would speak to Matt with my headphones on and listening to the music that he's sending me. And so I kind of wanted to paint those. That's what appeals to me. And they're all the same place, but they're all so different in style. It's just how long I've been trying to do things. So these two actually sold to somebody. I was at a little art in the park in Martinez with my class. The teacher had a booth, and I just put up like a few things, and this couple came by 3 times and looked at that painting on the right, and they finally just said, we've walked around this whole place and we keep coming back to this painting and it just calls to us. I said, great. And then they were going to buy this one, and then they said, we're just going to buy this other one too. I said, oh, great. So it was like my first real sale. I was pretty excited. But I was glad it spoke to them, that they felt something from it. And then let's see, this is just something that I encourage anybody to do. My husband built me a Costco shed on that same place where the garden is on the outside, because it was like, so now I can paint oils not in Matt's room and stink up the house. I can go outside to this shed that I have, and I call it the hippie house because I kind of have a hippie personality. And I sit out there, and it's by Matt's garden, and I paint away with my oils. And so here I am setting up a little setup of pots and plants and stuff out there. I really like that. And I'm outside, so that's a good thing. I like being outside. And then this is just letting people know there's always community colleges to take classes at. This is taking drawing at the local junior college. They made us spend 3 years on this one shell, but it turned out well because he made us have patience and do it for real. And you kind of get it's an actual college class, so they actually teach you like technique and stuff, not just when I'm sitting in there with my teacher who's like, we're having fun, Other things that I encourage to do is like, the one on the left is me copying a master painter. I don't remember the artist, but it's somebody from 1700s that I copied, and it teaches you a lot when you do things like that. Because you have to figure out how they did that, and why they use these colors and so on, and you try to do it exactly. Color wheels are a great way for just loosening up and understanding color better. I'm getting to the end here.
How far down the rabbit hole do you go for like planning your colors? Or I feel like I'm always just kind of like hairy, scary, just grab
Yeah.
whatever I think looks good. I do no study whatsoever, and you can
Right.
tell.
Well, and that's me too. And I literally just took a class at the Scottsdale Artist School a month ago, 2 months ago, and it was all about color theory. And it was like teaching us to have, I didn't ever really understand when people talk about, I get complementary color, but I didn't understand that when you're doing a painting, there was actually a formula or a plan that people are making. Like they'll say a triadic, and I'm like, what's that? But it's like the red, yellow, and blue, and your painting is mostly that. And he had so much good information about color that I was not paying any attention to. So it was a good thing to learn. A workshop is what that was. But I also like just being free with anything that looks good or I feel good with. And I think I get stuck sometimes in these ruts where I'm trying to paint the tree green and the grass green and the sky blue. But if you look at really good artists, the sky could be yellow and grass is not, it's like a mustard color, and it's the way that they just use the colors together, and you don't have to make it look realistic. And I'm trying to learn that a little bit more, but it is
Well,
just,
your colors are fantastic.
oh, well, thank you.
Really beautiful.
Thank you. I have oftentimes had a painting that I hate and I'll just mess it up and it turns out way better. This was a sailboat thing on the right that I just horrible, horrible, horrible. I got the palette knife out and just went crazy with it, and it turned out much better. My husband likes the sailboats, that he likes that one, the messy one of all things. The same thing I did with this hippie people over here, and my daughter loved that one, so she has that one. And this was just, we had to do rectangles. So my teacher was having us do a grid, and I went outside of the grid a little bit. I took a photo that I painting that wasn't working, and I made a grid abstract out of it, and it worked much better when I just have no fear because it's not going anywhere. And if somebody likes it, they can have it. Other things I've done when COVID hit, everybody was locked down, and I wanted to like do something. So I made everybody I knew cards. I got out watercolor cards, and I just started making cards, and I just sent everybody a card, just thinking of you as we're all in lockdown. And that was so fun. And it's really, you could buy those little watercolor cards or whatever at Amazon and just, paint away. And you could practice on paper and glue them on, and you're not wasting your cards. I did a lot of wasted cards, but that's another idea for people. And then my last thing here is I have made these paintings as gifts for people that have asked. My gardener is from Mexico, and he very specifically wanted a Mexican man with a machete coming in from the fields when he was cutting down the agave plant, and he wanted his tequila waiting for him on after his hard day of work. And I said, okay. And he wanted the guy to wear the white outfit and the hat. So I said, okay, Jose, I got you. And so I painted that for him and gave it to him. And my friend's dad just passed away, and I felt very emotional. I was feeling it all up in my feelings, because I was sad for her, because I knew she was sad. And I just went out to my shed and painted this little vase of flowers instead of going to buy her flowers. It's a little tiny painting of flowers in a vase for her, just to say, thinking of you. Lastly, this is what Matt said to me. My screen's kind of cut off. What did he say here? He says, hold on. I'm always with you. I know you miss me, and I'm sorry I'm not there physically, but know that I'm always with you when you think of me. And the hawk, hummingbird, green car, sparkle of light, and song. Keep saying hello, and I'll keep saying hello back. And I feel like that's a message for all of us, from all of our kids, for whatever signs. Keep saying hello, and I'll keep saying hello back. And that's all I've got for you guys. So I just want to let you guys feel your children. They're with you. They're painting with you. They're doing whatever your art of choice is. They're with us. I mean, then there's so many different types, and just don't have any fear. And that's basically all I have. Any questions or anything else?
It was so, sorry, pardon me. That was so amazing, Deanna. It was such a special presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed. I'll stop my screen sharing now.
I just want to ask if we can share this with the group. Is that possibility? Because I just think it's so beautiful, and I would love for people to understand what Art for the Heart is about. But I know that sometimes people share a lot and they don't necessarily want to have it shared with the whole group. But I do think, and I'm sorry, I didn't put my name on here. I'm telling everybody to put their names on here. But if you would be willing, I'd love to have it on the main group just so that people can see what this group is about, which is so beautiful and healing. Do you think that that would be something you'd?
I don't mind. Yeah,
Okay, good.
great.
Well, that's wonderful. If all of the leaders of the group are okay with that, that would be so great because I am so impressed. I just think that looking at these pieces of art that you and Christy and Joyce and Anne Marie and everyone else are able to create after the passing of a child, it's just so evident to me that they are part of the creation process, and seeing what you do is just so exciting to me, and being able to know that there was something else that you were saying earlier that I wanted to say something about, but anyway, the presentation was really exciting, and I think that it is something that will make people want
Good.
to try art to be able to heal, because this is such a great way to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping that people do it more.
And also you explained it so well, Deanna. Like you really brought your own personality to your creation. So I really appreciated all of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'd love to learn more stuff. I'm always so, I don't know what you all do for your types of art, but there's so much out there, and I think everybody should just encourage and just do what they feel like, I know we're all in this group that already know we like art, so I like Elizabeth's idea of sharing it to a broader group, because yeah, there's more people that don't know that that's a great thing to try, or have always wanted to try and they're afraid or something, so.
Have you named your works? I was going to ask you about the daffodils and about the angels. I mean, I would love to maybe know what the names of your works are, but also I think that this is what I was going to say earlier. Being able to paint the place that you meet your son, where you meet Matt, is a wonderful thing to do, because I know that I imagine it in my mind with Morgan, but being able to paint it and then know that you're going to meet there when you go to sleep, for instance, is such a useful tool to be able to really visualize the place that you're meeting with your loved one. So anyway, I think that's, and obviously I love that painting too, because I've also featured that one. So anyway, but sorry, I don't want to take up
it's hard to paint something that is so beautiful like that. That's part of the challenge. I've ripped up a bunch. Those were two. I've tried it a million times, and I can't paint Matt yet. And I don't know if there's, something with that. And the meeting space, I keep wanting to paint, but I try it and it's hard because it's so personal. And what you see is like, how do you put that onto paper? But it's fun to try,
You said you made a comment early on that stuck with me. I wrote it down. It said, you used your art to find meaning in the loss.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just expound on that a little for me? Maybe share how you, I mean, I think that's when our children pass, we're trying to find meaning, period. And how did you find that in doing your art?
Well, I think it's because, it took a while, but I feel like his passing made it opened me up to other possibilities that I had not done. And I don't know if that was intentional, like we had a plan early on or what, but it just was like, it was like I was on a, going around my record, and then I just got thrown off the turntable and everything was just shifted off. And I had to just expand in a way that I never would have otherwise if I just kept going down the same path. So I became an artist that I wanted to be, and I became spiritual again. I had been pretty spiritual as a child and had suppressed a lot of that. And so it was like a shift in my whole being. And in a good way, in some, obviously very sad that he's not with me physically, and the pain and grief that we have with that. But has also made me feel like I have a relationship with him now that is so different. He didn't talk to me much when he was a teenager, and I was always mad at him about something, or he was mad about me with something. He was always staying out too late, and I was always worried about him. And our relationship now is like, he loves me and I love him, and we talk about it, and he's encouraging me. And I don't know, it's hard to explain because it's just a different relationship, and I'm a different person now. So it has changed me. And that's all. I mean, it's a way to, it's like something positive can come out of this terrible thing that happened. Does that make sense?
Agree.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? We're getting close to the end of our time together. Deanna, this has just been a fantastic presentation. I've loved seeing your art. I've loved hearing your story. I feel like I can relate to you on so many levels. And so even with our kids, Tess had green hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been really
Good.
fun getting to see all your work. I appreciate you sharing this with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Anne Marie, do we have anything we need to share or announce before we go? I don't have anything set up for next month, but we were talking about that before we came on, and talking about
I was
doing
just about to mention that
open
we're
studio
talking.
in May. We'll
I
hopefully
was
get that.
going to ask if maybe you guys would like to have a sibling come on and show her art. My daughter actually records
We would
all of the
love to
art.
have her do that.
But I
Great
just,
idea.
I thought of it today. I never thought of it before, which is kind of strange, but she is definitely a public speaker. She's really good at that. So,
And
I
she's
think
an incredible artist too.
yeah, and she's got a master's in art from University College London as well. And so she definitely would be able to help
Yes,
instruct.
please. That sounds
I was
wonderful.
actually thinking about teaching at ASU, and so this would be fun to be able to just talk to you guys. But if you're interested, it might give a different perspective just to have a sibling come on and talk about their art and how it's helped them to heal. And
Yeah.
anyway, sorry.
Love that.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Yes, please, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna. It was great. I love your work and appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Great to see all you all.